Stay grounded, walk boldly, speak softly. Written by Scarlett Adler. Audiobook by ReadRealm. Introduction. The Power of Quiet Confidence. I remember sitting in a high-stakes meeting a few years ago, surrounded by people who spoke fast, loud, and confidently. I had an idea, a strong one, but I hesitated. Would anyone listen if I didn't raise my voice or dominate the room? Still, I chose to speak up calmly, with clarity and intention. To my surprise, the room quieted. They listened. Not because I was the loudest, but because I was grounded in what I believed. That moment changed how I understood confidence. It didn't have to roar. It could whisper and still be powerful. This book was born out of that realization. Stay grounded, walk boldly, speak softly is about reclaiming a version of confidence that doesn't require ego or noise. It's about recognizing that you don't have to prove your worth by overpowering others. You can lead, influence, and inspire while remaining humble, steady, and kind. Many of us grow up with the belief that if we're not the loudest voice in the room, we'll be ignored. That unless we're constantly asserting ourselves, we'll be seen as weak or unimportant. But the truth is, real confidence doesn't come from volume. It comes from inner alignment. It's knowing who you are, standing by your values, and having the courage to act without needing applause. Humility is often misunderstood as meekness, but it's actually the foundation of true self-assurance. When you're grounded in your purpose and comfortable in your own skin, you don't need to seek constant approval. You don't have to shout to be heard. You simply show up authentically, consistently, and with quiet strength. Through this book, we'll explore how to cultivate that kind of confidence, the kind that doesn't waver with praise or criticism, the kind that allows you to speak softly, but still command attention. We'll dive into tools, stories, and insights that will help you grow into a version of yourself that is both bold and humble. So, if you've ever felt overlooked because you weren't the loudest, or drained from pretending to be someone you're not, this book is for you. You don't have to change your nature to be respected. You just have to stay grounded. Chapter 1. Understanding true confidence. We often mistake confidence for charisma, the bold voice at the table, the person who always has something to say, the one who never seems uncertain. But as I've learned through experience, real confidence is much quieter. It's not a performance. It's a presence. Authentic confidence comes from within. It doesn't rely on applause, titles, or constant reinforcement. It's a deep sense of self-trust, a knowing that, regardless of outside opinions, you are enough. Performative confidence, on the other hand, is rooted in insecurity. It's loud because it needs to be. It thrives on being seen and validated because, without external approval, it begins to unravel. True confidence doesn't need to prove itself. It doesn't chase validation because it knows its own worth. People who are grounded in this kind of confidence can be bold in action while remaining calm in spirit. They don't need to take up all the space in a room to feel significant. Instead, they lift others up, knowing that power isn't diminished when shared. Another sign of genuine confidence is the ability to embrace vulnerability. As Brené Brown famously said, vulnerability is not weakness. It's our greatest measure of courage. A truly confident person isn't afraid to say, "I don't know," or "I was wrong," or even, "I need help." That honesty builds trust, both with others and with ourselves. Confident people also speak up when it matters, not just to fill silence or steal attention. They choose their words with intention and aren't afraid of moments of stillness. Their strength lies not in how much they say, but in the meaning behind what they say. At its core, confidence is a quiet inner knowing. It's steady, it's resilient, and it's rooted in self-trust and integrity. When we act in alignment with our values, even when it's hard, we reinforce our own confidence. Each time we follow through on a promise to ourselves, we build trust with the one person we rely on most, ourselves. Susan Cain, author of Quiet, offers a valuable reminder that introversion and quiet confidence are not traits to be overcome, but qualities to be embraced. There's zero correlation between being the best talker and having the best ideas, she writes. In fact, many of the most powerful leaders and thinkers in history led with calm conviction, not noised out. So how do we begin recognizing this kind of confidence in our own lives? Reflection exercise. Take a few moments to reflect on and write down 3 specific moments when you felt truly confident, not because someone praised you, but because you felt grounded, aligned, and authentic. Think about 1. What were you doing? 2. What made you feel confident in that moment? 3. Was it loud or quiet confidence? As you look at your list, you may notice a common thread. Perhaps you felt clear about your values, calm in your purpose, or proud of how you showed up authentically. That's the kind of confidence we're going to build more of in this book. True confidence doesn't need to perform. It doesn't shout. It walks boldly, but humbly. It speaks softly, but powerfully. And it stays grounded, even when the world around us doesn't. Chapter 2. The Myth of Loud Power. From a young age, we're taught that the loudest voice wins. In classrooms, boardrooms, and media, we're conditioned to believe that volume equals strength, and that confidence means speaking often and boldly, whether we have something meaningful to say or not. Much of this stems from cultural conditioning. Many societies, especially in the West, prize extroversion as the gold standard. Outgoing personalities are praised, while quieter ones are often encouraged to speak up more, as if silence is something to fix. Our movies, shows, and influencers often portray power as aggressive, flashy, and attention-seeking. The problem is, this bias creates confusion. Arrogance is mistaken for confidence. People who dominate conversations or always need to be right are often seen as strong leaders, when in fact, they may be masking deep insecurity. Over-talking, interrupting, and constantly asserting yourself can feel powerful in the moment, but it often leads to disconnection and burnout, both for the person performing and the people around them. Performative power, trying to appear confident, without the foundation of self-trust, comes at a cost. It can leave us exhausted, always needing to maintain an image. And more importantly, it can prevent others from feeling heard or valued. Real leadership, by contrast, doesn't demand the spotlight. It creates space for others to shine. I once worked with a leader named Elena. She wasn't the loudest voice in meetings. In fact, she often listened more than she spoke. But when she did speak, everyone paid attention because her words came from a place of clarity and intention. She never made anyone feel small to prove her point. Her calm presence created an environment of trust and safety. Team members felt empowered, not intimidated. Over time, productivity and morale soared, not because she pushed harder, but because she led with grounded confidence. True influence doesn't need to shout. Some of the most impactful leaders in history, people like Mahatma Gandhi, Rosa Parks, and Fred Rogers, led with quiet conviction. Their presence was their power dot. It's time we rethink what strength really looks like. Loud doesn't always mean confident. In fact, the strongest people often don't need to raise their voice at all. They lead not through force, but through consistency, empathy, and integrity. So if you've ever doubted your impact because you're not the most outspoken person in the room, know this: your quiet strength matters. You don't have to perform to be powerful. You just have to stay grounded and lead from within. Chapter 3. What is humility and what it isn't? When we hear the word humility, we often picture someone quiet, reserved, maybe even timid. But that's not humility. True humility isn't about thinking less of yourself. It's about thinking of yourself less. It's grounded, not shy. It's powerful, not passive. Humility is the quiet strength of being teachable, of knowing you don't know everything and being okay with that. It's the ability to celebrate others without feeling threatened, to admit when you're wrong, and to lead without needing a spotlight. Humble people are often other-centered, meaning they consider the needs, feelings, and perspectives of those around them. They're rooted in self-awareness, not self-importance. Let's be clear about what humility isn't. It's not weakness. In fact, it takes tremendous inner strength to be humble in a world that rewards ego and self-promotion. It's not self-deprecation. Saying, "I'm not good enough," or "I don't deserve this" isn't humility. That's insecurity wearing a disguise. It's not shrinking yourself. You can fully own your strengths and still be humble. Humility isn't about hiding your light. It's about letting it shine without needing to blind others. At the heart of humility is self-awareness, the honest understanding of your strengths, your flaws, and your place in the bigger picture. Humble people don't pretend to be perfect. Instead, they're comfortable being real. They don't need to be the center of attention to feel valuable, and they're not easily shaken by criticism because they already know who they are. It's no surprise that humble people are often the most respected and trusted. We instinctively feel safe around them. They listen. They make space for others. They don't manipulate or perform. They simply show up with sincerity. Their confidence doesn't push, it invites. It makes room for growth, both for themselves and for those around them. History gives us powerful examples. Nelson Mandela emerged from decades of imprisonment, not with bitterness or bravado, but with grace and humility. His calm presence and ability to forgive were central to his leadership. The Dalai Lama, despite global recognition, lives simply, speaks gently, and laughs easily. His humility doesn't weaken his message, it deepens it. It draws people in the modern world. We see leaders, teachers, parents, and even creators who lead with this quiet strength. They aren't driven by ego, but by purpose. They don't try to impress, they aim to impact. And their legacy lasts longer because of it. So how do we bring humility into our own lives? It starts by noticing when we feel the need to prove ourselves, when we interrupt instead of listen, when we place our image above our integrity. Humility is a daily practice, not a destination. It's about being present, being curious, and being kind. Journal prompt. What does humility look like in your life? Write about a time you acted with humility. How did it feel? What impact did it have on others? Are there areas in your life where you could invite more humility, perhaps by listening more, letting go of control, or celebrating someone else's success without comparison? Humility isn't about being less, it's about being real. And when paired with confidence, it creates a kind of presence that is both magnetic and deeply human. Chapter 4. The confidence-humility balance. One of life's most beautiful paradoxes is that you can be confident without ego. In fact, confidence rooted in humility is often stronger and more lasting than confidence tied to arrogance or bravado. When confidence and humility come together, they create a powerful balance. One that keeps you grounded and authentic while allowing you to shine boldly. Why does confidence need humility? Because confidence alone, without humility, can easily tip into ego, defensiveness, or entitlement. But when you pair confidence with humility, your self-assurance isn't about proving yourself to others. It's about living in alignment with your values and being open to growth. This balance helps you stay steady, no matter the external pressures. So, what does a confident yet humble person look like in everyday life? Here are some key traits. Takes feedback well. Instead of shutting down or feeling threatened by criticism, they listen openly. They know that feedback is a gift, a chance to learn and improve. They don't see it as a personal attack, but as an opportunity to grow. owns mistakes without shame. Confident humility means accepting responsibility without beating yourself up or making excuses. They understand that mistakes are part of the learning process and don't define their worth. Uplifts others. Rather than competing or tearing others down to feel bigger, they celebrate others' successes and offer support. Their confidence is expansive, not exclusive. At the heart of this balance is emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize and manage your own emotions while empathizing with others. Emotional intelligence helps you navigate the tricky line between confidence and humility. It teaches you when to assert yourself and when to step back, when to speak up and when to listen. This balance isn't always easy. It requires ongoing self-awareness and practice. But when you cultivate it, you create an inner foundation that helps you respond to life with grace, courage, and authenticity. Reflective exercise. Take a moment to assess yourself on 2 scales. From 1 to 10. How confident do you feel in your daily life? 1 equals not confident at all. 10 equals fully confident. How humble do you feel in your actions and interactions? 1 equals not humble. 10 equals fully humble. Where do you see room for growth? Maybe your confidence is high, but humility could use some nurturing. Or perhaps you're humble, but want to step more boldly into your power. Either way, knowing where you stand is the first step toward deepening this essential balance. Remember, confidence and humility aren't opposites. They're partners. Together, they help you stay grounded, walk boldly, and speak softly in a world that often mistakes volume for value. Chapter 5. Inner Work. Building unshakable self-worth. Confidence doesn't begin with how you look, what you own, or how many people applaud you. It starts much deeper, with your self-worth. True confidence is rooted in the quiet, unwavering belief that you are valuable simply because you exist. It's not something to earn, prove, or perform for, but building that kind of self-worth isn't always easy. Society constantly tells us we need to achieve more, look better, or be louder to matter. This creates a dangerous trap, outsourcing your worth to external achievements, praise, or validation. When your confidence depends on things outside yourself, it becomes fragile and fleeting. One criticism, failure, or lack of recognition can send your self-esteem plummeting. So how do we build self-worth that's unshakable, independent of outside approval? It takes consistent inner work. Here are some practical ways to start. Daily affirmations are a simple but powerful tool. Take just a few minutes each day to say kind, truthful statements to yourself, like I am enough, I am worthy of love and respect, or I trust myself. These affirmations gradually rewire your brain, shifting the story you tell yourself from doubt to confidence. Another key practice is keeping promises to yourself. When you commit to doing something, whether it's waking up on time, finishing a task, or taking care of your mental health, follow through. Each time you honor your word to yourself, you strengthen trust in your own reliability. This builds a foundation of self-respect that feeds confidence. Don't forget to celebrate small wins. It's easy to overlook daily progress, but recognizing even minor achievements helps you internalize your value. Did you speak up in a meeting? Finish that project? Take 5 minutes for self-care? These moments matter. They're proof you're growing and capable. Beyond daily habits, some tools can support deeper work on self-worth. Meditation helps you connect with your inner self and quiet self-critical thoughts. Therapy provides a safe space to explore and heal limiting beliefs. Journaling encourages reflection and gratitude. And coaching offers guidance and accountability. I remember when I first started facing my own self-doubt. For years, I chased validation through accomplishments and the approval of others, but the confidence never lasted. It was exhausting. What changed was when I began committing to myself, showing up for my own needs, speaking kindly inwardly, and forgiving my imperfections. Slowly, I stopped needing to prove myself and started simply being. That shift built a quiet, steady confidence that no outside opinion could shake. Inner work isn't glamorous or quick. It's often messy and requires patience. But investing in your self-worth pays dividends, creating a core strength that supports you in walking boldly and speaking softly through any challenge. Remember, confidence born from self-worth is not about being perfect or unstoppable. It's about being enough right now, exactly as you are. When you cultivate that belief, humility naturally follows, because you no longer need to defend or inflate yourself. You simply show up, grounded and authentic. So start today. Say a kind word to yourself. Honor one small promise or reflect on a recent success. These simple acts are the building blocks of a confidence that won't falter, no matter what life throws your way. Chapter 6. Speaking softly with strength. There's a common misconception that to be heard, you have to be loud. That volume equals value. But in truth, you don't have to shout to make an impact. Speaking softly, with intention and calm confidence, can be far more powerful. Verbal assertiveness without aggression is a skill anyone can learn. It means expressing your thoughts and needs clearly and firmly, without yelling, interrupting, or bulldozing others. It's about owning your voice while respecting the space and feelings of those around you. Here are some practical techniques to help you speak softly yet strongly. Pause before speaking. Taking a moment before responding gives you time to collect your thoughts and speak with purpose. It also commands attention, showing you're thoughtful, not reactive. Use intentional language. Choose your words carefully. Say what you mean with clarity, avoiding filler words or vague phrases. For example, instead of, "I think maybe we could try," say, "I suggest we try." Intentional language reflects confidence. Be concise but warm. Speak directly but kindly. Keep your message focused, but soften it with a genuine tone. This approach invites openness and connection rather than defensiveness. Beyond words, tone and presence are equally important. A calm, steady voice conveys control and assurance. When paired with relaxed body language and steady eye contact, your presence naturally draws people in. You don't need to dominate the room. You just need to own your space quietly. For many, public speaking feels intimidating, especially if you tend to be soft-spoken. But quiet confidence on stage is possible. Here are a few tips. Focus on breathing deeply to calm nerves and project your voice evenly. Practice pacing, don't rush. Pausing for effect helps listeners absorb your message. Use stories or examples to connect emotionally, which makes your voice memorable without needing to be loud. Remember, authenticity resonates more than volume. People listen when you speak from a genuine place. Try this simple practice to balance softness and strength. Take a typical statement you might say, something like, "I'm not sure if this will work, but maybe we could try it." Now rewrite it to sound both soft and strong. For example, "I believe this approach could work well. Let's give it a try." Notice how the second version is direct and confident, yet gentle and inviting. That's the art of speaking softly with strength. Mastering this skill doesn't just improve communication, it changes how others perceive you. It signals you are self-assured and respectful, someone who leads by example rather than volume. So next time you speak, remember, your voice is powerful, even at a whisper. It's not how loud you are, but how clearly and sincerely you express yourself that leaves a lasting impression. Chapter 7. Listening deeply and leading quietly. In today's fast-paced world, leadership is often mistaken for being the loudest or most commanding voice in the room. But the truth is, leaders who listen deeply often command the most trust and respect. Listening isn't just a passive act, it's a powerful leadership tool that fosters connection, insight, and collaboration. Active listening is a leadership superpower. It means fully focusing on the speaker without interrupting, judging, or planning your response while they're talking. When you listen actively, you make others feel seen and heard. This builds loyalty, openness, and often surfaces solutions you wouldn't have discovered alone. Take the example of a CEO who transformed her company culture through listening circles. Instead of relying solely on top-down directives, she created safe spaces where employees at all levels could share ideas, concerns, and feedback. This approach not only improved morale, but led to innovative breakthroughs and a stronger sense of community. Her quiet leadership style, rooted in genuine curiosity and respect, proved far more effective than traditional, aggressive tactics. Humble leadership is about asking before assuming. It's resisting the urge to jump to conclusions or impose your views. Instead, you approach situations with openness, inviting diverse perspectives. This humility strengthens your decision-making and shows your team that their input matters. Leading without micromanaging or overpowering can be challenging, especially when you're passionate or responsible for important outcomes. But true leadership trusts the capabilities of others. It's about guiding, supporting, and empowering your team rather than controlling every detail. When leaders step back and listen, they create space for growth, not just for their team, but for themselves. Here's a simple but transformative tip. Listen to learn, not to reply. This means shifting your focus entirely to understanding the speaker's message and emotions instead of preparing your comeback or defense. When you do this, communication deepens, misunderstandings decrease, and collaboration thrives. Listening deeply and leading quietly may feel countercultural in a world that celebrates noise and assertiveness. Yet, these qualities create leaders who are not just effective, but deeply respected. They inspire loyalty, foster innovation, and build resilient teams grounded in trust. So as you step into your own leadership, whether in your workplace, community, or family, remember this. Sometimes the strongest voice is the one that listens the most. By staying grounded and leading with humility, you can walk boldly and speak softly, creating impact through quiet strength. Chapter 8. Navigating Ego and Avoiding Arrogance. The ego is a tricky companion. At its core, it craves one thing: to prove itself. It wants to be seen as right, powerful, and superior. While a healthy sense of self is important, when the ego takes over, it can block growth, damage relationships, and stunt true confidence. So how do you know when your ego is in control? Watch for these signs: defensiveness when challenged, needing to always be right, interrupting or dominating conversations, or feeling threatened by others' success. Ego-driven behavior often comes with a hidden fear that if you aren't the smartest or most dominant, you might not matter. When the ego rules, it shuts down curiosity and learning. Instead of being open to new ideas or admitting mistakes, the ego builds walls. This disconnects you from others and limits your ability to grow. Arrogance isn't confidence. It's a mask for insecurity. Thankfully, staying humble is a practice you can cultivate daily. Here are some ways to keep your ego in check and embrace humility. Admit when you're wrong. It sounds simple, but many struggle with this. Saying, "I was wrong," or "I don't know," is one of the strongest acts of confidence and humility combined. It shows you value truth over ego. Be curious, not certain. Approach situations with a mindset of learning rather than defending your position. Ask questions, listen deeply, and entertain ideas different from your own. Surround yourself with honest feedback. Choose friends, mentors, or colleagues who won't just tell you what you want to hear. Seek those who challenge you with kindness and truth. Helping you grow. Daily humility practices can be as simple as reflecting on moments you felt defensive or proud and asking yourself why. Journaling about these experiences can bring awareness and insight. One powerful tool is visualization. Take a moment each day to imagine releasing the need to always be right. Picture yourself letting go of the weight of needing to prove something. Feel the freedom in embracing imperfection and openness. Remember, humility doesn't diminish your confidence. It strengthens it. When you quiet the ego's demands, you create space for genuine connection, learning, and self-respect. Arrogance pushes people away, but humility draws them in. Navigating ego isn't a one-time fix, it's an ongoing journey. By recognizing when your ego is in control and choosing humility instead, you stay grounded in your confidence. This balance allows you to walk boldly through life, speak softly with conviction, and lead with a clear, open heart. Chapter 9. Practicing humility in relationships. Humility is a quiet but powerful force that transforms relationships, whether with a partner, family member, friend, or coworker. When we bring humility into our interactions, we create space for deeper understanding, connection, and trust. It softens tensions and invites collaboration, making our bond stronger and more fulfilling. One key way humility improves relationships is by helping us let go of dominance in conversations. It's tempting to try to control or win discussions, especially when emotions run high. But holding on to the need to be right or have the last word often causes more harm than good. Humility allows us to listen openly and share our perspective without overpowering others. An important part of practicing humility is apologizing with integrity. A sincere apology acknowledges your part without excuses or blame. It shows respect for the other person's feelings and willingness to repair the relationship. Saying "I'm sorry" can be difficult, but it's one of the most courageous and healing acts you can offer. Avoiding the need to win arguments doesn't mean giving up your views. Instead, it means prioritizing the relationship over being right. It's about seeking understanding and compromise, not victory. This shift builds mutual respect and reduces conflict. To cultivate humility in your relationships, try these simple exercises. The 1 compliment a day challenge. Each day, give someone a genuine compliment. Notice how focusing on others' strengths changes your perspective and softens your interactions. Compliments are small acts of humility because they celebrate others without expecting anything in return. Ask for advice once a week. Whether it's a colleague, friend, or family member, asking for advice shows you value their insight and are open to learning. This practice breaks down walls of ego and builds connection through vulnerability. Humility in relationships isn't about weakness or self-sacrifice. It's about strength and respect. When you practice humility, you show others that they matter, that you're willing to grow, and that the relationship itself is more important than being right or dominant. By walking boldly with humility in your relationships, you create a space where everyone feels valued and heard. This is the foundation for lasting connection, one soft, respectful conversation at a time. Chapter 10. Leading with presence, not pressure. True leadership isn't about controlling others or pushing them to follow your commands. Instead, it's about influencing through presence, not pressure. When you lead with presence, you inspire trust and loyalty without needing to dominate or perform. This kind of leadership flows from clarity, authenticity, and grounded confidence. Presence is more powerful than persuasion because it creates a magnetic field that draws people in naturally. You don't have to convince or coerce. Your calm and confident energy speaks volumes. People want to follow leaders who are steady, transparent, and real. not those who force their way through noise or aggression. Leadership doesn't require a grand performance. You don't need to be the loudest voice or the center of attention. Instead, clarity and authenticity are your greatest tools. When you know your values and show up honestly, you become a beacon others want to rally around. Consider the story of a team leader I once worked with. Instead of micromanaging or constantly pushing for results, she led with humility and presence. She listened deeply, admitted when she didn't have all the answers, and gave credit freely. Her team responded with fierce loyalty and high performance, not because they feared her, but because they trusted her. Her leadership showed that quiet strength builds the strongest foundations. Developing this kind of magnetic presence takes practice, but is well worth it. Start by being fully in the moment, listening intently, speaking thoughtfully, and acting deliberately. When you slow down and ground yourself, your presence naturally expands. Here's a simple daily grounding ritual to cultivate your leadership presence. Breathe deeply. Take a few mindful breaths to center yourself. Reflect. Tune into your intentions. What kind of leader do you want to be today? What values guide you? Act. Step forward with calm confidence, carrying that clarity and humility into your interactions. Leading with presence isn't about pressure or performance. It's about showing up grounded, clear, and authentic, and watching how others follow, not out of obligation, but because they believe in you. Conclusion: walk boldly, stay grounded. As we close this journey together, remember these core truths. Confidence is internal. It doesn't come from loud declarations or external approval, but from a quiet, steady knowing of who you are. And humility keeps us human. It grounds our confidence and reminds us to stay connected, open, and compassionate. The final takeaway is simple but powerful. Quiet confidence is lasting confidence. It's the kind that carries you through challenges without needing to shout or prove yourself. It's the confidence that flows from roots deep in self-awareness and humility. Think of yourself like a tree, rooted firmly in rich soil, still growing and reaching upward, offering shade and shelter to those around you. That's the kind of presence this book encourages you to cultivate. Strong, grounded, and quietly impactful. Here's a small but meaningful challenge to carry forward. Be the calm in the room today. In moments of chaos or pressure, choose presence over performance, humility over ego, and strength over noise. This simple practice can shift your confidence and the energy you bring to any space. Thank you for taking the time to explore the balance of confidence with humility. I'm grateful you trusted these words to guide you. Now it's your turn to apply these tools, to walk boldly, speak softly, and stay grounded in your unique power. Your quiet strength has the power to inspire far beyond what words can express.